Hello and welcome. I am Stacey Thomas, author, ALS advocate, film producer, and talk show host. I'm here to motivate, educate, and entertain. Join me on YouTube every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Stacey Thomas Talk Show, where we have powerful discussions centered around health, relationship, careers, and everyday conversation. Follow me on Facebook, I am Stacey Thomas. On Instagram, Stacey Thomas Talk Show. And don't forget, I can promote you too. Email me at iamstacythomas@gmail.com. Now, it's time for the show. Hello, everybody. I am Stacey Thomas, of course, and I always say unrestricted, unlimited. And you say, or you ask, what do you mean by that? It simply means don't put me in a box. I have yet to see all that God has for me. And once again, listen, it's not bragging. It's me just being excited by the people that God continues to bless me with on my platform. And tonight, I hope you follow him. I hope you Google him, because I don't want you to say, Stacey, were you exaggerating about this man that went through such a hard time and look at him now? I say, look at God. Rocking my shirt because I'm following him on Instagram, right? You can't see the whole shirt, but I always say living is so much better. It feels so much better than merely existing. And if you want one, hit me up, because it's a daily reminder we need to remind ourselves. So let's get to it, and let's bring on Mr. Carlos Walker. Hey.
Peace and blessings. How you doing?
I'm fine. First, let me say thank you. I know we was connected by a mutual acquaintance, but at the same time, you did not have to say that you were going to come on Stacey's platform. So thank you for accepting the invite, Carlos.
Thank you for inviting me. You're welcome, but thank you for inviting me.
So
Go ahead.
with you, I want to do things a little different. Normally, we start from the beginning. I feel like I want to start from 2025, and then I want to take us back.
Okay.
Is that okay? So
That'll work.
what were you gonna say? Because Stacey talks too much at times.
No, never too much. I love your shirt. I
Thank
love
you.
I
Thank
love the
you.
message that it portrays, because it's
Thank
true.
you. Thank
Living
you.
does feel so much better when you realize that you are not just existing.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? It took Carlos, it took me. I've always been thankful, and I know people say Stacey say this a lot, but this was a big thing that happened in my life. I lost my mother to Lou Gehrig's disease, something that African Americans think they don't get, and I'm gonna make it quick. My mother didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't party, didn't hang in the wrong places, didn't do any drugs. She got very sick, lost the ability to walk, talk, and could barely smile. From that, Carlos, I realized in the morning time, I got to thank God that I can brush my own teeth.
Come on.
I got it. My mother could not push the button on a remote control. I got to thank God,
That you can take.
Carlos, that I can still tap the cell phone or the keyboard on a computer.
I'm gonna give you something. So, what you learned from seeing that, you learned how to be grateful for everything. And I learned this by ways of my freedom being taken or given. I gave my freedom away. But I learned how to start learning to appreciate small things. I seen a comic book strip, and it was a guy driving a bike, but it was a guy right beside him. He was in a car. Right beside the man on the bike was a guy walking. Well, the guy on the bike said, "I wish I had a car." The guy on the beside the guy on the bike, he was walking, and he said, "I wish I had a bike." There was a guy in a wheelchair up top, and he was looking down, and he said, "Man, I wish I had legs." But what they didn't realize is they was alive. Everybody had, yes, wanted something more, but what we don't realize is what we got. You learned from watching your mother. This was a lesson that God gave you. One, she had already did everything that she was supposed to do. That's the reason why. But that lesson was for you and everybody else that could watch her. whether we think it was declining or not, you messed around and said to yourself, thank God I can do what I can do. And that's what life is about. It's about being grateful. It's not a mishap that some people are blind or deaf, because God allowed them to still be able to do great things that we don't even know that we can do because of them. But what we get to do is realize that I am blessed to be able to see. I'm blessed to be able to hear. And everybody should wake up every morning with the feeling of, thank God, because I'm able to do some things that I cannot do, that some people can't do, but I am able and I get to do it. I ain't got to, but I get to. So,
Wow. Wow. I see, so I don't get a chance to see a lot of things on social media. But when I see somebody that's speaking some positive things, I try to check them out. So I check out your videos. I love what you're doing. So it's 2025.
mhm.
What's going on in 2025? Where are you at? What are you doing?
So I am 2025. I am about to have an art show in Ohio in January. I have 3,500 books that I'm in the midst of giving away to schools. Um, I had six people, I think it was six. I don't want to miss nobody, but 6, 7 people that donated $7,500 to me to give away 3,500 copies of the autobiography of the butterfly, how the caterpillar made it through. And I got a few other. I'm supposed to go speak next month for foster children to let them know that they can make money off of art and books. I have I'm supposed to do a commemoration for a fifth grade class, and I'm supposed to go and speak to them. I'm looking to see the schools that I am about to get these books to. I'm
Okay.
looking to see if I can go and inspire their kids, because I just don't want to just give books to the school and get the school to pass them out. I want to inspire these young people, because they don't know who they are. Just like I didn't know who I was when I was 14, 13, 14, 15. But now I do know who I am today, and I don't even know who I'm going to be tomorrow, because things still steady evolving. But who I am today, I like to inspire and let people
So
know what God can do.
I love it. I love it. So in 2025, you are an artist. You
Artist,
are
inspirational speaker, creator of a rap debate. I'm playing. There's a lot of stuff.
and you have, I tried, oh my goodness, I was trying to download pictures. Let me see what I have, because I did, oh, let's see, let me pull it up from my files. Oh my good. I had downloaded something because I wanted to, for some reason, and I'm gonna find that picture because you sent me something of the artwork you do. Awesome. So with all this going on in 2025, if I didn't know any better, if people didn't know any better, we look at you and say, oh wow, he's been doing this all his life and it finally paid off. No one would ever think that all of this came from you being where?
Incarcerated, but I have been drawing all my life. I've been
All
drawing since I was 8 years old, but I didn't really find the passion for art until I got locked up.
Carlos, I've never been locked up, but something that hit me to ask you was, how does one sit in prison for 13 years?
13.
For 13 years, still have dreams. I'm not saying that people in prison that don't want to do better, but with thinking about where you are, not being with family, not being with friends, how do you keep your mind right and how do you still have dreams?
So, um, for me, what I can say is God actually put a dream in my mind. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no clue. Um, what ended up happening, this happened 11 years ago. It happened in 2014. Let me slide this camera over just a little bit. So it happened in 2014. I heard God say, you're going to leave prison early. The world is going to see your artwork and that you are a millionaire. And I'm in prison. Still got 8 years left. Don't know how this is going to happen. And I believed it. And what happened, as we all know, or what most people know, is that I came home 4.5 years early. My artwork has now been at the World Trade Center 3 years in a row. I've exhibited in DC twice, Baltimore twice, Florida, Georgia, Philly twice. And I've sold over 11,650 copies of my book, and 11,350 been hand to hand and me signing every one of them. How? Other than God, I cannot tell you how I could dream something that I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just believed. And the crazy part is, sitting in prison, I started writing newspapers and asking them, "Hey, y'all need to see my artwork. Will you put it in your newspaper?" I had three black owned newspaper: the Florida Sentinel, the Miami Times, and it's a newspaper in Texas. I always it's called AFRAM, African American. I forgot the name of it, the total name, but they gave me an opportunity and they put my artwork in their newspaper, and
Wow,
this
you was incarcerated.
Yep, and this extended my dream to know that, hold on, I got something. Just keep believing. Keep trusting God, not you, but trust that God is going to get you to where He said. And it's been a miracle, but it's been a great journey.
Carlos, we all wait for God to tell us something, right? And I'm about to talk about Stacey now. We all wait for God to tell us something. Well, I'm not the only one. And God tells us something, or God puts something in front of us, but we miss it because we believe that it's supposed to look this way or it's supposed to be this way. Carlos, how did you know when God said it? This is what I got to rock with. This is what I got to do.
So you also got to know what you pray for. So 2014, my parents came to see me. They were sick, or they was elderly and they looked sick.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there and I go back to the cell and I get on my knees and I ask God to give me something that'll help me make money or I never sell drugs again. And I said, if you do, I tell the world about you. The next step was I'd been studying Black history for 3.5 years. So one day, 2 months later, I'm walking on the compound and I look and it was a black correction officer with a white guy cutting grass in front of him. And I looked and I said, excuse my language, I said, damn, this look like this could be a black slave master and a white slave. I told my friend, he said, I can see this. I forgot about the idea. It was just like in passing. And 2 months later, I'm going through a black history book and I see these two white guys chasing a black guy. And I said, hold up. And the idea popped back in my head. That day, I started doing the artwork. But for 3.5 years later, I did artwork after artwork after artwork. And I ended up with 48 pictures based on this one idea. And then two correctional, two women said, you should write a book to your artwork. And I didn't know how to write a book. But what I did, I'm a thinker. Me, when it comes to punctuation, I'm not the best at it. But I was able to write to every picture. And I got somebody else to do what they do, edit. Somebody else edited my work, and what I left with when I left prison was a whole makeshift book that I pasted pictures on, pasted the words on it, and it was a book about this thick. I just had it when I came back home, and I came home early. And in 20, I came home 2019. 2020, I was selling cars, and I get a $6,000 commission check. And I heard God said, "Publish your book." I took $1,200, reached out to this lady I reached out to 2 months before. Thank you, Shannon, for because she's the one who helped me publish my book. And right now, I've literally sold 11,650 copies of that one book.
Look at God, Carlos.
Look at God. God is faithful. What you got to do is move. God don't tell you that all the ramifications that you're gonna have to go through in order to get what He tell you. He only give you a vision, and He gives you ideas. Most people think that the ideas are just ideas. No, these are what you're supposed to be fruitful and multiplying. The ideas.
And this book is called, the book that you wrote while in prison was, it's called What If?
What if?
What If? So I don't know what was going on with me today because I usually have my stuff in order, what I need to share. For some reason, the computer wasn't acting right. So I'd like to play a video. And then I want you, because I guess, I don't know, were you prideful? I can't figure this out. I want you to explain this video to me.
Okay.
Pride. Pride for me is something that is built around my community. Is the fight that we have, the fight that I have, that I've endured because of them. That has brought about my redemption. My redemption is my fight against those things that I once were, or that person that I once were, and those things that I once did. But fighting against them brought about my success. My success are built in once again into my community, but the accomplishments that I've done because of my community. I am art.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Black history is one of the tools or one of the things that God allowed me to learn while I was sitting in prison. It's also the thing that made me look at myself and change. So, when I say I use pride, it's pride in being who we are. When you learn who you are and what your people have done to get us here, that is where my pride is. But it, as I said in there, it brought about my redemption. My redemption to be the best version of me for all of the people that's coming after us, or for the people that's even here today. And I had to allow God to renew my mind to be the new person that I am, that's redeemed enough to do better. And the success, because I was willing to change the mind frame of who I used to be. Right now, I am a better version, and that has been my success. That has been how I got to become who I am today, and to be moving forward to who I'm becoming tomorrow.
So you happy with yourself, Carlos? You happy with who you've become?
I am grateful. Happy is, I don't like the word happy, because that
Okay.
means something has to be happening in order for me to. I am joyful.
You're joyful and you're grateful. And I, let's see, I'm telling you, so I want to put some things on here. So, what if reality as we know it wasn't what we knew it to be? What if the stories of the past were changed by one small detail? However, that one small detail being one that would change it drastically. In these illustrations, you will discover the ethnicities of oppressors and oppressed have been reversed. This has been done in order to open the mind of the viewer to what if. Throughout illustrations, the Caucasian race is placed in African American experiences to bring clarity to all who fight against understanding our stance against injustice. While you were in prison, you did an exhibit, Walk a Mile in Our Shoes. Can you explain? Oh, by the way, Stacey didn't write those words. Those are Carlos's words. Very strong words. Walk a mile in our shoes. An exhibit. Explain to those of us who may not know exactly what that is.
All right. So the exhibition would be, imagine everything that you know about Black America. or about America, period, but with Black Americans. But imagine white people being in our position. So when I say this, imagine white people going through slavery. Imagine them going through Jim Crow. Imagine them being shot and killed by Black police officers. This whole exhibition is based upon our situation with them walking a mile in our shoes. I actually give visual pictures of every instance that you can almost think of, from them being sold on auction blocks, from them being captured by Black slave masters and whipped by Black slave masters. I have a picture of where it's a white Rosa Parks sitting on the bus with Martin Luther King behind him, and on the windowsill it says "No whites" in front. I have a picture of a white family sitting down there eating dinner, like Thanksgiving dinner, but with a Black Jesus sitting in the background. I have a picture of Eric Garner as a white guy being choked out by a Black police officer. I have Philando Castile being a white man but being shot by a Black police officer. I have Donald Trump as a black man, and I also have Lady Liberty as a Black female, which is on the front of the cover.
So my first thought would be, if I heard about your book, my first thought would be he's a Black person that doesn't like white people. And then after I read your words, I feel like the book isn't just for Black people, the book is for everybody. And I feel like if everybody would read this book, especially just looking at the few words that I've read that you have written, it could change some hearts. What is it that you're the author, you're the one that the book, the words were given to. What is it that you want this book to do?
Enlighten people. So it is not just for Black people, it's not just for white people. As you just stated, it's for everybody. When I created it for us. So then for a lot of us don't know our history. I was in my 20s and I didn't know a lot of the history. But when I sat down because of prison and read a bunch of books, I was enlightened about our history, which changed my whole stance of how I treated myself, but how I treat my community. Number two, for white people, most definitely is for them, but I want them to, I learned something. So I asked most people this. I asked a lot of women, have you ever thought about being a man, Stacey?
No, y'all got to work too hard.
All right.
No, no,
And
no, 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 not really.
so I asked people this because I want them to understand why I created the book. So I asked a bunch of men, have you ever thought about being a woman? And most men said no. Most women said no.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, you like being who you are. White people like being who they are. Don't get me wrong. But they have never thought, what is it like to be in the shoes of a Black person? Just like most men and women have never thought about what it's like. Men don't think about what is it really like to be a woman. Or women never really think about what it's like to be a man. But when you do, you become more empathetic to the other person. You learn to appreciate them while learning to appreciate even yourself. Because me, when I look at women, I say to myself, I wouldn't want to have a baby. Physically, I wouldn't want to have a baby.
Right.
That is to me a beautiful process, and it's a gift that God has given y'all to be able to birth kids. I learned that I don't want to go through the things that y'all go through. Having a period, not just the bad things, but even
Right.
some of the good things. This is y'all's gift from God.
Right.
And when you look at it, I started appreciating women 10 times more. How I treat them, how I am in a relationship with them. I'm still growing as a man. But what I learned is I don't want your place. I can appreciate the opposite. I can appreciate now night from day and appreciate daylight even more because I understand night. And the thing about it, for them, they need to be able to see that what it's like to be us. See. So then they can appreciate. This is where empathy comes in.
Wow. So let's feel empathy and not feel privilege.
They will become more empathetic. I have had, out of all these books I've sold a lot of books to white people. And the first thing they say is, I never thought of it that way. I understand. You like being who you are. It's hard for a person to come out of their body, but you can come out of your body through your mind. That's like walking by a homeless person. Put yourself there. How would I want to be treated? I would love to be spoken to, not overlooked, not looked down upon. It makes you say, let me speak to this person. It doesn't cost nothing to be kind.
Nothing, nothing at all. I live out in the country, not deep country, but I'm in the country, and they're farmers. And when I was in my 20s, I might would have said, "Oh, please hurry up," or "Why did I come behind this person?" Right? And as I get older, I don't mind the tractor in front of me driving slow. I appreciate the fact that he's on that farm working hard to get that food that Stacey likes to eat. I appreciate it. So why am I complaining when he's blessing me to have food or someone to have food?
Not only that, Stacey, you also learned how to appreciate life. So, for some strange reason, we are always in a hurry to do stuff. You learn to be patient. You learn to sit back and just be patient and allow yourself to follow behind them, knowing that they're doing a great work on our behalf.
Right, right.
And that happens when you. Some people get it early. You may have got it, like you said, in your latter years. I learned probably within the because I stay in DC. There's a lot of traffic. I learned I might be missing an accident because I'm in this traffic. So guess
Right,
what? Thank God for the traffic for right now because some people up there drive wild. And I
right.
learned to just take your time. I'll get wherever I'm going. If it's meant for me to get there, I get there on time. If it's not, I might have missed something. And I realized just be patient.
Wow. Very interesting. I like how you explain things. I want to know the caterpillar. So we got this first deep book, and then we got this book that you've written for children. How many books have you given away?
Um, at the moment, we're about to give away three 3,500. But right now, I give my first time I gave away a book was 300. Right now, we have dropped off 720 more books, so technically 10,000. I mean, 1,020 books have been given away, and I got 2,780 more books I got to give away.
Carlos, tell us, can you tell us a little bit before we take a quick break? What's going on with the caterpillar?
So it's actually not for kids. It just ended up being for young people. But it's called the Autobiography of the Butterfly: How the Caterpillar Made It Through. Imagine yourself being the butterfly. What did your caterpillar go through to become who you are?
Ooh, a lot.
So, and that is the story that the butterfly is telling about the caterpillar. It's telling about how it was called ugly. It is telling how one of his friends got eaten up by a crow. How some little kids took and threw it across the street and it ended up surviving the car and the bike tire. How it started raining on it as it was looking for safety to climb up a tree. It started raining. But what ended up happening, it still created its cocoon and still came out flying to become the butterfly that it's supposed to be. This
Wow.
is all this is all of our lives, but this is also the young caterpillar's life or young people's lives. They're just caterpillars, but they have a butterfly story. We are the butterflies, and we got caterpillar stories. We don't share it with them. But if we share our stories with them and let them know, look, you're going to go through some things possibly in life. Don't lose your mind. Don't harm yourself because of emotions. Because what I can promise you, this too shall pass. And when it does, you're going to later become a beautiful butterfly if you go ahead and continue to persevere through this thing that we call life. You are meant to be prosperous. You are meant to go through some things that's going to build you to become the best version of you.
Wow. Truth Talks, Sharon, hello. So I've got a show, we're taking a break now called Exhale with Sharon and Stacey. And that's Sharon. Sharon's a therapist. Sharon, Sharon probably sitting there saying, Carlos saying Stacey has patience. I have patience, but Sharon will tell you, Sharon's the calm side of person on the show. And I'm the person that, I'm gonna try to stay calm. But thank you for watching, Sharon. She's very supportive. Check out his art, Sharon. Check the art out. And for anybody else that's watching, because I don't know what was going on with the computer today, I had some links up, but I can go back and post the links later. Before we get into, I don't want to hold you all night. Before we get into your grind, I'm very impressed. Before we get into the grind and before we start talking about the young man, let's take a quick break, okay?
Want to be heard? Get featured on The Stacey Thomas Show. Join Stacey for conversations on entertainment, books, and entrepreneurship. Don't miss out. Elevate your brand today. Book your interview now. Email staceythomas@gmail.com.
Okay, that's me. That's Stacey. If you have a story to tell, if you have a blessing that you want to share with someone else, I'd say hit Stacey up. But remember, there's a possibility. I don't feel like your story gonna bless somebody. I've got to put that little disclosure in there before somebody said, Stacey, you said if I had a story. No, not every story, but we are in the business of sharing stories that bless other people or educate, motivate, or entertain them. You gotta grind selling those books. You done took it to back in the day. While the rest of us are on social media trying to figure out how to promote these books, tell us about you out in them streets.
So, how can I put it? My past, me selling drugs, actually, it plays out in what I do now. So when I first started selling drugs, I used to sell on a corner in my hometown. I'm from this little small spot called Halifax County, and it's a little spot called Cody. So I used to stay out there on the block selling drugs.
Okay.
Later on, I ended up moving to a different part of the drug trade, which would be setting in houses and letting people come into the house and selling drugs that way.
Okay.
Then I started selling weight of drugs, and that is how I ended up getting 23 years in prison. But I would sell it in wholesale. So what I do, I use the same remedy. Right now, for the last 3.5 years, God actually allowed me to be put in front of the African American Museum, where I've now sold out of 11,650 books, I've sold 8,500 to 9,000 books, standing out in front of the African American Museum, asking people, y'all mind if I share my book with y'all? You mind if I share my book with you? And I probably had over 2-3 million people walk by me in 3.5
Standing
years,
out there.
just
I've
standing out
had
there asking. But
I've I've had people tell me, Stacey, you got to get out and tell people what you do. You got to walk around and talk about what you do. You
look,
done took that thing back.
if you don't, you'll never be able to get out. So what I did, 2 weeks my 2 weeks before my job fired me in 2001, I sold 7 books out there the first time. I sold 10 the next weekend. The next weekend they fired me. And I've been out there ever since, from August of 2021 till now. I've been standing out in front of that museum selling books.
And you,
And go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I have sold most of my books there, and then the rest at my homeboy store, Community Love. And God has allowed me to not just meet a bunch of people, but to be able to share my story with everybody.
And you've been the bus. I've never been. I keep saying I want to go. I heard it's nice. What is it? Bus boy poets or
Bus boys and poets, yeah.
bus boy and poets?
I've
Is
had
it?
my artwork there twice.
Wow, wow. When you think about where you started at, well, when you just think about when you went to prison and you think about what you're doing now, I'm just excited for you. And you said you're grateful.
I was just about to say it, and you took the words right out of my mouth.
You're
Grateful
grateful.
because of the journey. It's been it's been a heck of a journey, and to see where to know 14 years ago I was sitting in a cell with just an idea, and to now see that that idea is what I live off of, how I make money. I sell books every day. I
Wow.
don't, for the last 3.5 years, I've not worked nobody else's job. I had to work my own job. And that's me going out there for 2 hours, at least an hour and a half to 2 hours, selling at least 10 books. This is in the cold. This has been in the hot of summer. And it has been mind blowing to see how God can guide you, but to see what you get to do and how I kept my promise to God. When I told him that I would tell the world about him, everybody I meet, I get to share my story of how God brought me out of prison really 7.5 years early, but I always said 4.5 because the second date was 2023, and I got to see both of my parents before they came out. I mean, before they passed. I got to
Wow.
literally watch God do something special just for me. And
Wow.
it's been mind blowing.
Wow. So you talk about your two parents, and people a lot of times they see people, they hear that people have been to prison and they figure what kind of home did they come from. Duh. I said duh because my son in his midst, and I shared it with you, and I don't have a problem saying it, but my son who has battled drugs, and I always say I'm not going to tell his story, is his story to tell for himself. But he made me feel really good one day because he said he had a talk with officers while he was locked up. He got to speak, and he said to them, don't look at me and at what I've done and assume this is how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos, when you were younger, I read that you started drawing early, but when you were younger, Carlos, did you think that you would be on the street hustling? What did you dream of becoming?
An artist.
Wanted to be an artist.
So my mother used to tell me I was going to be an architect. She wanted me to be an architect, and I used to tell her, "No, I'm an artist." And I'm gonna be honest. When I was probably about 3, 4 years old, I used to act like I was a preacher. So uh, couldn't make this
And
up. And even
well,
right
look
now,
at you now. You're ministering now.
look, I've even spoken in the pulpit before.
Wow. And who's Mrs. Ferguson?
This was one of my art teachers. She believed in me. When I was about 16, 17, she took me out of about 1,800 to 2,000 students in the school. I don't know how many students she actually had in her art classes, but she took me and this other young lady to Richmond, Virginia for a weekend, and she believed in my art. And
Wow.
I didn't believe in my art then because I was already selling drugs at the time, but she believed in me, and as of today, I get to look now and see where I'm at. I'm an artist.
Wow.
I literally make money off of my art, and I work, I ain't gonna say try, I work to tell young people that they don't have to wait till they turn my age. They can start making money at 14. You're watching artists all over the world use their artistic abilities to make money. You don't have to wait till they can write books at 14. They can write a book at 10 if they can think of something to write about and make money from it.
Carlos, you're going to do great things. I am wishing you huge amounts of success. You're very motivating. You're motivating me as an entrepreneur, but even more so, you're you're doing something for me and other mothers who may have kids who have gone down the wrong path, and at the same time we're not giving up on them. And it's people like you and somebody like you speaking that's blessing us with your story. For me, it hit me. He's not just someone that you're going to interview for other people to hear his story. I needed to hear your story, and I needed what are my words? I needed to hear your story, and I needed to hear somebody basically say that it can turn to good. I've learned God will take bad and turn it to good.
Look, it ain't even bad. I don't see life as good and bad no more. So the word says all things. Hold on, let me back up. And we know all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to their purpose. Your son got purpose.
And
He
I
don't.
believe, I believe that, and I try to tell other people that about theirs. People have to walk their own path.
Yes,
And all I can do is pray that he'll be a testimony that'll bless somebody. He'll have a testimony that'll bless somebody else.
I promise you he will. One, the things that he's going through is not for him. It's for somebody else.
Wow.
It's just that this moment, I ain't go to prison just for me. Don't get me wrong, I did wrong, but I ain't go to prison just for me. Now I know that what happened for me. This is what I think it was Joseph said. Joseph said, "What the devil meant for evil, God meant it for good." So guess what happened? Out of me doing 13 years in prison, what I have now been able to do was inspire over 11,000 some people to know that, hey, things change.
And you're going to inspire a lot because of how you look, the color of your skin. It's a lot of young brothers. They may listen to other people, but they're going to take
But they
it
ain't gonna
better.
listen to
They're going to take it from you. They will accept
it.
what you're going to tell them because you look like
And
them.
I have had young girls be inspired. I've had white people be inspired. When I tell them my story and I tell them I did 13 years, they mouth drop this big. And then they be like, "You did 13 years?" But then I could say, "Yeah, but this is also what I've done since I've been home. This. And they mouth drop even wider. But I get to inspire people. And that comes from, yes, or what one of my favorite verses is Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "I know the plans I have towards you, declares the Lord, not to harm you, but to prosper you and give you an expected end." Prison wasn't harm. It felt like it, but it also didn't. I learned. This was my university. This was my school. But what happened from that schooling is everything that we get now. People see the butterfly, back to the book. People see the butterfly, but they don't know the caterpillar story. And
Wow.
what I get to do is, yes, show you the butterfly, but I get to tell you about the caterpillar story. And the caterpillar had to go through a bunch of stuff to become who you're seeing.
Wow. Sharon, again, I love the way you allow God to use your skills because you had a choice. I know that's right. We all have choices. So, Carlos, we have the art and we have the books. I have, let's see, what did I put up? So, are these the what? How should they follow you? Is this correct on the screen? But I want you to tell us. I have your IG and YouTube. Is that correct?
That is right.
That's correct. And if they want a book, I had the link up. I've got to find it. There's a link on your Instagram page that will allow someone to purchase the butterfly, right?
The butterfly and the what if.
And the what if?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
And
you go to the YouTube page, when you hit that link tree, it got what if at the top. I think it got the YouTube for the YouTube channel, and then it has the butterfly book up under it.
is your link tree, is that Carlos Walker or Walker's Gallery?
It's up under the Walker's _ gallery too. I normally have it is right up under on my bio on Instagram.
Okay. And how does someone contact you if they need to, like, hey, someone may want to contact you and say, Carlos, I really need you, like, maybe to come here to speak. How do they do that?
571-300-3131. You can call me.
Okay, let's see. Let's put that up here. Wait a second. Might want to get a Google number. You might get too many calls as you get famous. I'm only
Look, I didn't already put this number in everybody's book that I have ever signed.
What's the number? Go slow, please.
571
571
300
300
3131.
3131. So that is how they can connect with you. There we go. Carlos, it's been great.
It's been an honor.
Thank you. It has truly been great. I'll continue to follow you. When I see you talking to Lindsay or one of the people up on one of those big news channels, I'll be sitting at home smiling. I know Carlos.
Hey, look, we're gonna stay in contact. Look, hey, I love the people that God has allowed me to share my story with, but for me to be a part of their life. I realize that you're nobody without people.
That's right.
God is everything, but He shows up through people.
That's true. And I tell people on the platform, sometimes I used to wonder, why do I meet so many people? And I used to say, like, but I'm so different than them. So God, what is the reason that I'm meeting these people? And then I realized, and I tell people, sometimes I'm just meant to act as a bridge to connect people to people. Mm-hmm. This show, I realized I got to receive the blessing and act as a bridge. Thank you, Carlos.
It is an honor.
And have a good one. And we're wishing you the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Love you, baby.
Love you. Look, love you and love what you're doing, Carlos. Have a great one.
You too.
Okay, so it's up there. Another great show. Not very inspiring, very motivating, you know? I like that. Took it back to the old school. Got out in the streets selling his books and telling people who he is. Follow him. See how you can be of assistance in helping him get his books out to the schools. He's coming out. He is available for speaking engagements. And check out his YouTube channel. Okay, everybody. And remember, don't stress too much about yesterday. Don't worry too much about tomorrow. Because if we do, we just might miss living today. Have a good one, and thank you for watching.
Want to be heard? Get featured on The Stacey Thomas Show. Join Stacey for conversations on entertainment, books, and entrepreneurship. Don't miss out. Elevate your brand today. Book your interview now. Email staceythomas@gmail.com.